The Center for the Rapprochement of Cultures appeared in Kazakhstan in Almaty city in 2015 for the implementation of the International Decade for the Rapprochement of Cultures proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly at the initiative of UNESCO and the Republic of Kazakhstan, and as a specific contribution of Kazakhstan to the implementation of the relevant UNESCO Action Plan. On the basis of this organization, in 2017, the 39th session of the General Conference of UNESCO approved the establishment of the International Center for the Rapprochement of Cultures under the auspices of UNESCO Category 2. According to the decision of the General Conference, the government of Kazakhstan and UNESCO signed an agreement on the establishment of this center in 2019, which entered into force in 2021. The center in Almaty is unique for the world practice. Its activity is based on the conceptual understanding of culture as, first of all, knowledge. Knowledge is necessary for the development of cultures, and development is necessary for their rapprochement. Rapprochement of cultures leads to peace. In the center, scientists study the origins of cultures and their interaction, collect knowledge about the history of the origin and civilizations, about the development of peoples and their dialogue. The main task of the center's activity, promoting the rapprochement of cultures, is carried out through its own research and educational work, as well as through the organization of intellectual interaction between scientists and cultural figures. This is a complex of various international events. All of them are aimed at the benefit of sustainable and harmonious development on an international scale. The activities of the center are designed to promote the rooting in people's thinking of the principles that underlie the peaceful domestic and foreign policy of Kazakhstan and the mandate of UNESCO, which are the cornerstone of peaceful, equal and mutually respectful coexistence of different communities of people, regardless of their racial, ethnic or religious identity, both at the national and global levels. In accordance with the agreement, the functions and tasks of the center after the assignment of the second UNESCO category are: promote research and contribute to the production of knowledge on issues of interreligious and intercultural dialogue in Central Asia, focusing on the best practices of openness, tolerance and peaceful coexistence accumulated through the development of the Silk Road. Supporting UNESCO's capacity building efforts and teaching tools on intercultural competence and cultural literacy through outreach workshops, symposiums and conferences to develop individual and institutional knowledge and abilities. Promote the development of a network of mobilizing actors in Central Asia and beyond to stimulate scientific production and knowledge about the region and create synergy between scientists from other regions of the world. Participation in relevant activities, programs and initiatives that promote knowledge production, capacity development, coordination, advocacy and partnerships. The team of the center includes Director of the International Center for the Rapprochement of Cultures under the auspices of UNESCO Category 2, an outstanding thinker, writer and diplomat, Ambassador Oljaz Suleymanov. ICRC fellow workers are well-known scientists, highly qualified specialists in the field of history, archaeology, philology, cultural anthropology, religious studies, sociology, journalism, biology, economics and international relations. Mankind has united its efforts for the upbringing of planetary consciousness, for the development of a universal philosophy. The International Decade for the Rapprochement of Cultures is a commitment to the study and development of cultures, to establishing and strengthening links between cultural diversity and universal values. Rapprochement of cultures means that international security and social integration cannot be achieved without a commitment to principles such as respect for human dignity and dependence on race, ethnicity or religion. The rapprochement of cultures is inextricably linked with the construction of knowledge societies. The main results of the work of the center were the development of tools for strengthening intercultural and interreligious dialogue, discussions and exchange of experience. Such platforms for scientific and educational exchanges are International Summer School for Educators of Central Asia and neighboring countries to promote rapprochement of cultures by improving the quality of education. Annual International Scientific and Practical Conference for a Culture of Knowledge. Annual International Forum for the Rapprochement of Cultures of Eurasia. Forum of Children's and Youth Initiatives, Silk Road, The Way of Dialogue. Center in Almaty founded and publishes since 2019 his own regular periodical, International Almanac of Cultural and Social Studies Bilgamesh, participates in the publication of scientific and popular science monographs and articles on various aspects of interreligious and intercultural dialogue. Halls, conferences, roundtables, lectures and webinars aimed at stimulating scientific activity and the production of knowledge about the region, produces videos aimed at disseminating scientific knowledge, organizes exhibitions. The center has a permanent museum exposition, Culture and Religion on the Great Silk Road. The Center for the Rapprochement of Cultures initiated the creation in 2020 and became the patron of the Eurasian Network of Universities for a Culture of Knowledge Without Borders, Al-Farabi Abay, named after the great scientist of the East Al-Farabi and the founder of modern Kazakh written literature, philosopher and educator Abay. The purpose of creating the Eurasian Network, which today unites 16 higher educational institutions and received support from the UNESCO Cluster Office in Almaty and the Avicenna Virtual Campus Network, is to combine the efforts of universities from different countries to form in these institutions and in the educational community as a whole atmosphere of the pursuit of knowledge, as well as to promote the exchange of experience in the field of innovation in science and education. The center participates in relevant activities, programs and initiatives that promote knowledge production, capacity development, coordination, advocacy and partnerships. Information coverage of this activity is reflected in the media, on the center's website, in social networks and on its own YouTube channel. Also, the center has established direct and fruitful cooperation with the following organizations: UNESCO Headquarters in Paris, UNESCO Almaty Cluster Office for Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan, National Commission of Kazakhstan for UNESCO and ICRC, the International Information and Networking Center for Intangible Cultural Heritage in the Asia-Pacific under the UNESCO auspices Republic of Korea, International Anti-Nuclear Movement Nevada Semipalatinsk, Kazakhstan, other interested Kazakh and foreign organizations. Prominent domestic and foreign scientists, cultural figures, representatives of UNESCO, for example, Federico Mayor, Gabriel Ramos, Ahmed Jibar, Hiro Sayonji, and many others take part in the activities of the center. Based on its own scientific potential, cooperation with other educational, scientific and cultural institutions, the center in Almaty is engaged in fundamental and applied research on the origins and mutual influence of cultures, dissemination of the values of intercultural dialogue in the interests of peace and sustainable development among the international audience in order to form a global consciousness, to promote the idea of a conscious interdependence of peoples. The center contributes to the creation and improvement of space for intercultural dialogue through the participation of its specialists in other dialogue platforms and by creating new ones. In the future, the activities of the center will be aimed at the practical implementation of the UNESCO Medium-Term Strategy 2022-2029, in particular, Strategic Goal 3, building inclusive, just and peaceful societies through the promotion of freedom of expression, cultural diversity, education for global citizenship, and the protection of heritage, and also to build inclusive, just and peaceful, knowledge-based societies. Promote intercultural dialogue, non-discrimination, ensuring equality, respect and tolerance in order to promote peaceful and harmonious coexistence of people in society. Activate, engage and mobilize the unique networks of UNESCO partner institutions. In connection with the completion of the International Decade for the Rapprochement of Cultures, the question arises of the future of this project. In the UNESCO policy report Towards Knowledge Societies, experts acknowledge that the content dimension of education is inseparable from languages and knowledge. The international community is concerned that outbreaks of violence in different regions are fueling speculation about a clash of civilizations, that the world is seen as divided into opposing cultures, ideologies and religious beliefs. Overcoming conflicts is possible only through the formation of global consciousness, in relation to which the term global citizenship is also used, based on respect for universal values and the preservation of cultural diversity, as well as a culture of knowledge. The culture of knowledge should become the next stage in the development of the rapprochement of cultures its logical continuation. The accumulated experience will allow the International Center for the Rapprochement of Cultures under the auspices of UNESCO to successfully implement these ideas in practice, contributing to the sustainable development of human society as a whole. The International Center for the Rapprochement of Cultures, under the auspices of UNESCO Category 2 in Almaty, invites all interested states, scientists, educators and enlighteners from the region of Central Asia, the Great Silk Road space and the whole world to cooperate in the name of rapprochement of cultures and the development of a culture of knowledge.